we had to be careful of the White Russian that was hanging out from last weekend there.
Are
Get,
you,
I
are you
don't
talking
even
about my
wanna.
Instagram post?
yeah. Did not want to be slayed by that person in the
I don't
back.
know. She was doing pretty good. I was quite impressed.
Did
Hmm.
you see that confidence test that I was giving her? I had
Yeah,
the bottles out in my hands,
dude.
No, I
and then
did
she
You
not
shot it.
watch
brought me
that
out, and
actually.
you're all
No.
like, "Yo, watch this." Girlfriend proceeds to shoot bottles out of his hand from like 20 feet away. I'm like, that's trust.
Oh, also, it doesn't help that I gave her a really accurate rifle.
It was good. It's a good thing that she did that. But no,
Uh,
that's really good to see that she was getting comfortable with that. Hopefully she's doing better in the game behind you. And
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
we're
it
excited to
was
have her out.
it
Hopefully
was
she leaves the hat at home
yeah
because it looked nice. I don't know how well it would do during maybe snow. Maybe snow camo. There you go.
yeah.
Jill's already thinking ahead.
It was nice to be out at the field, honestly. For me, for my sake, anyway. Too.
Oh, dude, it was good
It's
to
been a
have you
while.
out, man. Mm.
Yeah, it's been a
I
while. It's
hope you
nice to see you
didn't.
guys.
I hope you didn't freak out too much about what the film set's done to your home.
What?
I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
It was
really
funny.
like it. I
Yeah.
like it. I don't know what they're
You
gonna
gonna
do
yeah.
with
keep
it
it?
even
You're.
further. I'm gonna keep it. Yes.
I'm
I
gonna
was
keep.
I was I was just thinking, can you imagine what they would have done if he had two cans, like one on top of the other? He would have had a major trailer park edition there.
I'm just saying, future
Future
holds many
upgrades.
cards.
Yeah, future builds, yo.
Oh my gosh. All
There
right,
you
I
go.
guess we'll get started here.
Hmm.
Welcome back to another episode of Panther Airsoft Folding
Mm,
Table Talk. Boy, it's
episode
been a
30.
while. Oh, yeah, 30. We
Yeah,
are now
episode
at our
30, guys.
30s, guys. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Feel old yet?
I mean, I already am at my 30s, so
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Unfortunately, we're again doing this remote because of, the situation at hand. But it is what it
Current
is.
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're able to talk to each other and, do this over the net. So that's really, really cool.
Oh yes.
Um,
So it was nice being out on the field. Honestly, it's been
mhm.
nice being out of the
Yeah.
house. It was nice to see you guys. To say Happy New Year and Merry and all this stuff. I didn't
Yeah,
see
it's a little delayed, but
you.
it's good.
I
It's
don't know
good to
if I
see
don't
you.
know if you received your present yet because I don't think Mac
No,
gave it to.
no, I still did not get the present. So, like, you speak of this present, boy, and I'm really sorry, but I feel empty inside because
Mac, where is it?
there is no present.
Where is it, Mac? Mac.
Oh, hey, how you guys doing?
We're
Mac here. Uh, um, feeling in a really hot seat. Yeah, Tack, it's safe and sound somewhere.
Gotcha.
But
I
doesn't
hate to lie to
that
you because I
you're
literally
lying
cannot.
because you're lying to me.
Well, I'm not lying to you. I'm about to tell you the truth. I would just like I cannot remember remember for the life of me where I put it, but they are safe and they are together. So come on.
Right.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Well, let's get on with it. Any updates from our last podcast? That was actually a pretty interesting podcast last week.
That was a really nice talk.
I
First
enjoyed going
talk.
back through it again and stuff like that, and just re-listening to some of your guys' points and whatnot. And also, it was really enjoyable to read comments that.
Yeah. So let's read through that. So answering from our audience here, Spectre Airsoft had a thing here for you, which was I think it was you asking about the MWS. What did he say here for you? Let me just roll down the comments here.
Do you have that pulled up right now?
Yes, I have it here. I'll let you guys know how my MWS is going to hold up in the next coming months, years. Oh man, so we're gonna have to come back to this next year. So far, my experience from it has been simple: hop up mod and slapping modified tan bucking. What's a tan bucking? I don't even know.
It's just something that you can buy on the market.
You can hop.
Oh,
45.
it's just something.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Wait,
It's
he's
just
hopping 4.5s?
It's just a
You're shooting 4.5s out of that thing?
Which is nuts.
That's what
You're
I'm
a
impressed
dick.
with. Is that he's shooting 4.5s with the gas gun,
Yeah,
You're a dick.
it's expensive.
It's a pretty
That's
long.
already an expensive gun. Why would you shoot expensive ass ammo too?
It's a really long
Because
comment
they'll
here,
call their head,
so I
and he
don't
has
know.
30 round mags, so I don't know. I think that's actually money conscious. Let's be honest there.
Mm,
Every shot
yeah, okay.
counts.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at that.
Okay, I'm not gonna read the rest of the comments, but I think this was directed to you, Tax, so you could read through it if you want. But that is crazy. They could hop 4.5s.
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
Seems unnecessary.
So it definitely doesn't seem like it's like a flat out you spend that money and then you get like out of the box performance. It seems like you have to do a lot of little tinkering in here and there and whatnot. And then the big downside from reading his comment there, the fact that it's $100 Canadian a mag. Now, holy crap. Holy crap. Poi,
Yeah.
you being a gas guy, can you remind me again, what's the GHK mags in Canadian
GH
dollars?
GHK is gonna run you about, with taxes and everything, about $80 and all.
What's we?
Yeah. No, GHK.
We
A Wii one will run you about
we are like
40 to
50.
$50. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like $50 for a single mag with shipping. So if you get a whole bunch of them, you're saving on the shipping there, which brings it down to like what Poi's saying.
Yeah.
But like $100
How
a
much for a
mag.
Tokyo? Is that all Tokyo Marine mags, or is it like
It's
Oh, I
$100
think
per mag, and
I,
I don't think that includes shipping as well.
do they only have the MWS system? No, they
well,
have
Tokyo Marine mags in general, I think are expensive. Like, maybe gas mags in general are expensive, right? Just because of where they come from. But like again, like from what I find, the MK23 mag, I think it's $60 for one magazine, or it's like
I
50
thought it was
bucks.
80.
All right.
What? Well, anyways, gas mags are expensive in general, right?
Especially
Gas is
So
MWS.
expensive.
yeah,
MWS.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
let's
So
move on to the
there's
next
that.
one here. We
Yeah, next
have
comment there.
what looks like BAMF director Armstead. I guess
Armstead?
yeah, Armstead. I guess he watched our video here, and really glad you all touched on this topic. Some of you know we have been advocating for this numbers of years and other aspects of airsoft from our diverse background. So I'm guessing they're coming from the real steel. I know they're coming from the real steel background, and they're
Mhm.
basically complementing airsoft as their training tool. From what I
Yeah.
remember,
Mhm.
most
Well,
of our clients, yeah,
Armstead's actually got like a pretty big history. He doesn't even touch it on here because he is like, yeah, he's like real steel, or he comes from the military background, I think. Yeah,
yeah,
USMC, and then he went to IPSEC and real steel shooting, and then I don't know how he ended up north here with us, but well, we're lucky to have him.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
yeah, he's
I
like he's been saying
I
he's
know.
been training and advocating
I've
and stuff. So
I've talked to them before, and I've told them I'm not really the best guy to reach for. If it's just social media stuff, then I'm the best guy to reach. But in terms of reaching out to the like IPSC or the competition shooters, I think Julian is probably your best bet into talking.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
definitely.
well, especially with what's being set up and everything like that,
Yeah,
right? Like, I don't know, again, the people who come by and people who haven't. Julian's been working really, really hard. He has yet to release everything. He's still ironing out the kinks, but it's like what Poi was saying. It's similar to like an IPSEC style
yeah.
sort of training.
All I want to highlight from this is basically he's saying, I'm glad we have this hobby and that we are all passionate about it and we're trying our best out of it. You guys are doing
Mm,
great work on the topics, bringing up and adding levity, bleh,
levity.
levity to sometimes heated topics. I think he's saying we need more heated topics. Where is the chair? This is our heated topic.
Sniper scopes don't belong on M4s.
Well,
Ooh.
Change my mind.
well, honestly, like I feel like airsoft in general doesn't need scopes, but like if if you want to talk about a controversial topic, you can go back to quoting what Lucas said about how convenient it was having a real steel optic on his airsoft gun so that he could identify. It's funny, but it also makes sense at the same time. But
Wait,
he makes a good
we need
point about
to bring up topics, guys.
yeah.
Comments below.
Oh my
What
gosh.
heated topics do we need? Trust me, we're not going to cover
Uh,
some of them, but what heated topics do we need? Comment
Drum mags are
below.
trash.
There's topics that we might
In
not
real
want to
steel or
cover.
airsoft?
Both.
Wait, what?
All right. You know what?
What?
We'll leave it
My
at that.
goodness.
We'll let them
Okay.
decide. All right.
All right.
Poi's about to fight.
Okay, so
Next topic or not topic. Next news here. What is happening at the field, Mac?
Okay.
You're director of changes, I guess.
You can call me the field of operations.
Go.
No, no, okay. So basically, yeah, like a lot of people have like we all know and have all had the same feelings and stuff like that. So definitely taking it upon ourselves to try and kind of implement some changes. I don't really want to go too in depth into it just because we're like not done. But those of you who have seen it, awesome. Please let me know what you think. People who haven't experienced it, come by and check it out, and let me know what you think. Other than that, I know everyone and their mother is an expert on what we should do. So yeah, feel free to tell me that because I know you will anyway. And other than that,
To
yep.
intrude you on that, I don't know if you've seen Siege Airsoft had an field update, and they did a mini sort of like not documentary, but mini like walkthrough of
Mm,
the changes they made, and as well as the bottlenecks
mm.
and as well as issues that they had at the field, and then they had the guy who made all the changes and talk about it as he walked through. You think I can videotape you doing a walkthrough and like you could tell us on video what you've done? Because I think that'll be cool to do.
Yeah, I'd be open for that.
Yeah. So I think that'll be like a nice
And I
little
think we
mini
have
segment.
enough. And we got enough footage from Old City that we could definitely show the changes. Because I know I've like looked back at your videos, Dayton's videos, other airsoft players' videos and stuff, and you can visibly see how much
Yeah.
City has
Well,
changed.
I
So
think we'll have that in the pipeline, back burners.
mhm.
When you think you're done, tell me, and then I'll jump down with my video camera because
Yeah,
somehow
for
I
sure,
always have a camera on me at all times.
always,
Sometimes, all the time. Anyways,
all
we'll do that.
60% of the time, all the
Continue
time.
on with your field updates. Go.
But yeah, so basically, we really want to just be able to, change the variety and versatility of some game modes, and then obviously being mindful of just some of the COVID restrictions, guys. I know some people, like I overheard somebody complaining yesterday, and I mean, I don't want to name names or anything like that, but I heard someone like complaining about like playing the same games and everything like that, and yeah, I understand, man. Team deathmatch, pretty simple. Capture a building, pretty simple. You know, other than that, that's what you got, dude. What else do you want? Can't play capture the flag because we
Can't
can't
touch
let you touch
stuff.
the flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You want to like try and clear a building better, but oh hey, look, no grenades. What's up? So we're all dealing with it the best we can, and yeah, we'll keep trudging along one step at a time.
Any other updates from the field?
Other than that, yes. Kind of weird. Airsoft is a privilege. It's not a right. We're really, really lucky and fortunate to have the field that we do and everything like that. And it really sucks when you have people taking advantage of that privilege. So, I'd really appreciate it if people would pay their admission. Like, it's $30 or 28, or if you have a membership, even cheaper. um, these are all things that help the field out and everything, and pay people's wages. I would not be shocked when you tell me, or I am shocked when people tell me that they cannot afford admission or that they haven't paid admission. And I look at your gear, and I look at your guns, and I look at your Instagram stories, and yeah, I judge you pretty damn hard. That's all I'll have to say about that. Other than that, appreciate all the people that do pay their admission, follow the rules, and help the community. Thanks.
Yep. And your admission also comes with the COVID tracking that we need. So
Yes, well, everyone needs to be doing their waivers online, and everyone needs to be checking in. This is regardless of who you are. It doesn't matter what exemptions that you think you have or you might have or anything like that. Everyone needs to be following these rules. And for the most part, everyone is. It sucks because we had a really awkward situation the other weekend where people weren't following these rules, and we decided to, act on it. And other than that, it doesn't make anyone other than them look dumb. So I would say sorry, but I'm not. So moving on from that, let's all learn from this lesson and yeah, let's not hurt the community.
All right. I think that's it for your updates. We're good.
Yeah, I really like it. I have nothing more to say about it. So
All right, perfect. Tack. How's that raffle from Schoolboy going?
Well, so obviously, if you guys are watching this, you've probably, have been watching that there is a winner already. We don't know who the winner is, unfortunately, but congratulations on who won that awesome rifle.
everybody
You know,
wanted that rifle.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I looked at it and I would just get it for a wall hanger. But on a side note, though, if you haven't checked out Schoolboy's website or his WordPress website there, go check it out. He goes actually really, really in depth into everything that he did with the gun. He's got a great visual representation of what he does with the gearbox open and everything like that, which is, to me, an easy way to digest something like this. I know a
Mm.
lot of people are into this era of, videos and everything like that, but sometimes you want to be able to just look at something and read it and just look at a picture, that isn't moving and just observe, everything that's there and stuff like that. So I really appreciate the way he's going about it, on what he does and stuff like that. Not to knock on the people who do videos and stuff like that. So yeah, specifically on the raffle gun. He goes pretty in depth on it and stuff like that. He gives pricing on a lot of the parts that he puts in and everything like that. So if you want to replicate a similar build, you could do the same. So check that out.
Yeah, and hopefully he gets another one in the future, and we'll showcase it for sure.
Oh, it's coming.
It's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna this is gonna disappear. He's gonna sit there. His hands aren't gonna be
He
busy,
can't
and he's
sit. He
gonna
can't
be
sit
yeah
still.
yeah he can't
He's
sit
always
still.
got busy hands, trust me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just who he is.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
if
a
he's not
fast
working on his
talker.
own
He's
gun,
he's got a he's fast talker. He's got fast hands too.
yeah, exactly.
All right. All right. I guess we'll segue into our topic here today. So our topic today is going to be what happens when you've phased out of the newbie phase. Your adrenaline's not wearing in anymore in terms of the rush that you get out of it. You're a novice player. You're kind of just like, oh man, another day at the field sort of deal.
Would you
You've
call
gone through
this?
one season worth of it. What would I call it?
One
I don't
one
know. I
season.
don't know. What would you guys call it?
One
Like,
season.
like back. What would you call it?
Uh, I would call it like the teenage years of airsoft or something like that. Like,
The
like where
no,
you
you
think you're
know it all.
cool.
Yeah.
You
Oh
think you
yeah,
know it all. You
the
think you're
know it all.
cool.
Dude,
You got
I've
more
been
than
through
one
that stage.
gun.
I've been through
Right?
that stage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you
Yeah.
have a primary and you got a secondary. You got like
Oh
a
man, you could
holster. You
have
got like a
you could
chest rig. I think that's you're
you could
basically
have a full loadout, dude.
yeah.
Money is the issue when it comes to airsoft,
Backpack
but
with
that
hydration
doesn't change.
carrier
That doesn't change your attitude,
in
okay?
a
You could have
15
all
minute
the money
skirmish
in the
game.
world, spend it all on the wrong stuff, or you could have absolutely no money and you spend it on the right stuff. It's all a matter of perception.
So
So I would definitely, it definitely or it comes down to poi. I know you were saying this earlier and stuff like that. It comes down to like the what is it? It's like the level of commitment to purchases, right? Is like really what changes and everything like that. Especially once you grow more in depth with your knowledge and or like just kind of like your desires out of the sport or the hobby, like because like okay, so like just right off the bat is tack, like you and I differ on a few things. He's very very into teching on his guns and working on the guns, where I am a gear guy, or like just kind of like it comes down to like the way it looks, for me it's not so much about like what it does. It's about, yeah, so for me, like I am in love with like right now, like I'm trying to build my belt. I've got myself like a decent carrier and everything like that, and I'm working on, just like changing around some of the things that I run and the way I play and everything. So, that's just me as a personal thing. And then um I don't know. What about you, Tack?
For what in particular?
Well, coming into being like a novice player? Like, I mean, how do you gauge that? What do you gauge that as?
Well, I would say, like if you're a newbie player, that would have been like stage one of the whole thing. I feel like there's like
That's buying a
three,
gun.
like three stages kind of thing, right? So if you when you look at it, right? So I'd call it stage two, phase two kind of thing, right? Because
So
you're gonna
what do
go
you consider
through
the
like
stage 2 then? That's what we're trying to get into
Yeah,
right now.
that's
yeah,
like you're like not
like
saying anything here. Come on,
well, so it's just like
dancing around the fucking point. Always.
Well, it just be more conscious of everything like that, and or actually, you know what? Like you could go one of two ways. You could be conscious of what you're doing, or you could not be conscious of what you're doing, right? Like there are gonna be people out there who will constantly buy things, left, right, and center. Some of those people out there, know who they are. Not knocking on you guys at all, because everyone has their, hobby, and everyone has their, thing that they want to do and stuff like that. But like at a certain point, it does become a burden, right? Or it becomes just useless stuff. I'm not saying, all the stuff that we get
It
is
just takes up
useless,
space.
but when it's not being used, it's essentially useless. So, and yeah, and it takes up space and stuff like that. So, that's one thing that could happen in stage two, of, being a seasoned airsofter, as I would say, right? You could be like someone who comes in and, like you said, be conscious minded of what they make, and they saved up from a combat machine or whatever it is, decided, you know what, hey, I'm not going to put more into this. I'm going to, either try and, hand it off to a friend, sell it to a friend, find a way to sell it secondhand somehow or whatever it is. We can touch on that later. But, and then purchase, the next best gun. But, and coming with the kit and stuff like that. I know we brushed up on this, on episode 3, with just with what budget minded kits and everything like that. But like I don't know, maybe for some of you people, on the extreme side, you were eyeing out that Arc'teryx leaf jacket, and you wanted to grab that or something like that,
I
right? And
I
then you
disagree with that
real
statement. You should save that when you're like a pro or something
well
later.
so
That's a goal. That's a goal right here. You're still down
That's
here.
like
You're still
top
down
so so
here.
so
tier.
so so what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, like, so there's gonna be guys in stage two who are gonna do stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So I'm not saying that that's like the thing to do, right? Because I know there are guys out there who are doing that, right? Who have been in airsoft for um
A
I'll be
year,
generous. I'll be
2 years,
generous. I'm gonna say
3 years.
I'll be generous. A year or whatever it is, and they're buying some of this really really expensive stuff for the pure sake of just airsoft, right? And I know we talked about it in other episodes before too, about
Pretty cringe.
um like trying to find a dual purpose for stuff, because yes, this is an expensive board, not as expensive as it can be, I guess, with paintball when it comes to gear wise, but it can with gear as well with airsoft, because you're walking down another route, right? So
You could cross into real steel even at that point. So
hmm
if that's what you're
exactly.
doing and you're buying that gear, go ahead. But if you're not doing that, if you're not crossing into real steel, why do you want to buy real steel gear? Yes, I do agree. There's pros and cons between buying real steel and not buying real steel. In the long run, it saves you a lot of money from rebuying repro gear or clone gear or anything like that.
Yeah.
But as far as like
So
airsoft goes, consider it. You're still at that low end spectrum of, I want to experiment with the gear. This is what I like,
mhm.
and then try it out. And if you don't like it, hey, you only spent this much rather than, having a real steel one. Now you're stuck with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or and the other problem too, I guess it comes back to people who overbuy or whatever it is, and it could also happen to someone who made a conscious minded purchase, right? Where that platform doesn't exist anymore or is discontinued, right? Like you could be a conscious minded person who saved up, got like a really really niche gun, right? But then that gun disappeared, right? And I'm not saying that you made a really poor decision. You made a poor decision, but
You bought a sniper rifle. You made a poor decision.
No, that's when
well,
you're at the newbie stage and you bought a sniper rifle. Then we'll
Well,
question you.
so that's exactly it. And I'm not gonna, there's a couple kids that I've been seeing on the weekend and stuff like that who've been buying into, a lot of the sniper hype that's been happening.
Can't even carry their
Well,
rifle.
it's not even carry the rifle. They can't even play with them because they're not field legal. They're not coming out as field. People are saying that they're field
So
legal, or they're
so
being
what you're
advertised as being
saying
field
is
legal.
buyer aware of the stuff that you're buying.
Yeah,
That's the best way to put it, right?
well, exactly. And unfortunately for these young kids, they're being pushed into stage 2 of, the airsoft life kind of thing real quick because they just made a purchase and they made a bad purchase. And now they are directly living with the consequences, right? And some of the things that people will do that you get down this road on where it's like cutting springs or changing out the springs. You can change out the springs. That's no problem. They made them really, really easy. But, like I know some kids who are going to get into the whole cutting the springs and stuff like that, and now they cut the spring and it doesn't work, and then
Yeah.
now they're still not playing, and now they get into the whole thing where it's like, oh well, I want it to shoot exactly this number, so
Should have
like
just got an M4.
well, it's like I feel like they're hyper accelerating themselves through that like problem, so it's just
So
like I
this
see
is
a
one
lot
of
of
those common pitfalls we do see in airsoft world is basically like, yeah, you're spending a lot of money on, like, you already have, you're buying your second gun, and this is basically I'm guessing you're pointing at Novice at this point for buying that airsoft gun that's not field legal, and then you gotta cut the spring. Right? Is that what you're talking about? Let's be honest here.
well, there's his gun and there's a couple other guys out there as well, right? Because the problem is that the the like where some of these guns are being made and stuff like that, they have a lot higher um limits. So
Yeah.
I feel like the tolerances are a lot looser when it
Like,
comes to people being like, that's
so
okay,
that's
yeah,
what I
ish,
mentioned is the buyer be aware.
yeah.
I would say, like, still buy locally from like Trigger or any other local stores around here, because you're I would say, like, you're getting some overhyped products sometimes from influencers. We were just talking about this, how influencers will overhype products, because they get it for free, so they're doing a free product review for some of these guys,
Yep,
right? And that's
essentially, yeah.
bad, because you're not getting an informed decision. You're getting a more biased opinion on a product because they had to review it,
Well,
right?
because they're not gonna feel bad if it breaks. Like
Yeah,
that's the real issue, at least for me, when someone gets something for free, is that like they're gonna treat it in certain ways that you would not treat it if you had paid for it
yeah.
in that sense. And so,
Yeah, so
um,
that's a common pitfall I see, is like people will believe, influencers, that this is something that you should get. You should, like Schoolboy or something like that, or Spectre, or all these other guys. You trust all of these guys to, like, do an actual review because they paid for it, and they're going through the experiences themselves. They're going through regular consumer
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
products
exactly.
that is not, like, given to them or hyped up. I'm gonna be honest here, like, in Dayton's reviews, when he gets review products, a lot of it is very, very, like you know, um, like, tougher, or the next level up, or the next tier up. It's not the lower tier; it's like this tier up. Everything's full metal, and if it does break, he sends it back, and it tells them, pay for shipping and everything, and then they send another one back, all for that exposure points, right? That's all they want, is the exposure points. And you got to be aware of what, like, what the product is. Base it on people that
So,
are not that are not totally
well,
biased in the
exactly. So
company.
basically, what you're saying is follow the people that are small. Once they blow up, stop listening to them because they're lying.
I wouldn't say it like that. I mean,
No, yeah,
So
that's exactly it. That's
after
exactly
the
it. So I'm
first
gonna
initial
listen to
document.
Schoolboy until he hits 1,000 followers, and then, dude, your words mean nothing
Is
anymore.
that your follower
You're
count? You hit 1,000. I'm not following you anymore.
Oh man, the
you're probably getting paid here. I don't know.
the follower cap, eh?
Yeah,
Ouch,
e-bike's got their hand in your pocket.
Give me some of that hand in my pocket. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
e-bike, let's go. Where you at?
Oh man. But yeah, those are the common pitfalls that I hate people seeing do. I think we all hate it as well, because of the fact that it's uninformed decision sometimes when they make a purchase. I mean, I'm not gonna like make fun of you for making a purchase. If that's what you want to spend your money on, good on you.
Yeah.
That's your money, not mine. But all I'm saying is, like, go out there, make your informed decision, make sure that you know what you're getting, make sure that you know what the product is, because sometimes it's not just sometimes it's just sometimes it's just bad. Just a bad product, right?
Well, exactly.
There are
Like,
bad products out there. This is airsoft. This is a hobby sport. This is also a sport that, is also very expensive, so people find avenues that are cheaper, right? It's just like Amazon. You go to the cheapest one before you find out right one, right?
Yeah.
Because you're looking for something that's, you know, bang for your buck product, but at the same time not crappy. So it's really up to you how you want to research that, or you can follow someone that guides you through that, right? But it's honestly, like, from my experience going through a lot of, you know, gear and stuff, you know, for me, I just like, I didn't like this, I'm not buying it anymore, right? If I liked it, I'll
Yeah.
buy it, right? So there you go.
Mhm.
So that's a
Definitely.
common pitfall.
If it lasts at least a good season of hard play, like I will look into, buying more from that same company or more from that like certain platform kind of. But if I have something that broke within like the first month or the first 2 months kind of thing, right? Or even like the first chunk of the season, like I that's where I'll just be like, unless it's a really good product, good warranty, return kind of thing, right? I might not purchase it ever again, right?
Mhm.
Because why why go through that all over again? You know what I mean? Like nothing's worse. And Mac, you can agree with me on this. When you're going around a corner and you're trying to post up in a shooting stance, and all you hear is
Ooh.
you gotta pay for that quality.
Since we're talking about um the gearbox now, airsoft maintenance is a key thing too.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I almost forgot about it.
Wait, what happened? Is there a backstory to this now? I need to hear this.
It was pretty funny because Matt kept playing. He had to finish. He finished the game off. It was so cool.
So what happened? I
I'm
need
sorry.
I need a backstory to this. What happened? You're still on mute. You're still on
uh,
mute, Mac.
I think I killed Makoto. I'm sorry.
Okay, what's the backstory on this?
Well, I asked for covering fire, and I needed this man to post up and give me covering fire. So he proceeded to post up and give me the strongest firing line possible. But in the process, he squatted down too far and leaned out and ripped the inside thigh of his pants
Oh,
all the way down to his
pants.
knee, right? All the way down to his knee. And this is like, we're right in the middle of the game. He's like, are you gonna walk off? And he's like, nah, I'm gonna finish out this game, B. I'm like,
You gotta
wait,
finish strong. You
what?
gotta finish strong, dude. So was that bad quality pants?
It was bad quality pants. I wasn't gonna let my brother be alone. Okay, I was like, I got your back,
Well,
bro.
Good
Even
on
if
you.
I'm cold.
well, the main
Oh man, that
backstory,
was so funny. That
is
was
that
so
is that
funny.
like
It was muddy. Remember, I slipped, and
well,
it's like I didn't even mean to peek out that far,
he
but it was
forgot
just like,
his good he forgot his good pair of pants, but he had these like cheap pair that he had in the back, right? And these like were like cheap backup pairs. He's, oh yeah, I'm gonna use the cheap backup pair. Nah,
I just like
don't
I didn't have the
invest
right
in cheap
shoes. This
backup
is
pairs.
why we say shoes, guys, because I like tried to take like a peeking step out, and basically I like didn't do splits, but like my thighs went further than I should have, and my pants just went like that, and like opened up from my crotch all the way to my knees on both sides. So I was basically wearing a kilt, but with like calf pants.
You
It
got
was
chaps.
weird.
Gotcha.
It was Yes, but the ass was still there. So like it was terrible.
So
And then
what's the moral
basically
of the story here?
is
And don't invest in cheap backup gear. If you're
no,
gonna
shut
invest
up.
in
Okay, those were my backup pair of pants. I wasn't supposed to be playing in those pants. Okay? They were
This
pants.
is why
Okay,
you
guys.
have two sets of BDUs now.
This is why you are prepared for things like this, because you know what I did right after, guys? Right after I ripped my pants and I finished that game strong, I went and put on a new pair of pants
Good on you.
that I had in my car
There
that
you
I
go.
should have been wearing in the beginning.
Goodness me. Okay. I mean, those are great stories to do.
Moving on. Oh my god. Get off of my
I'm
pants.
guessing you were new at that time, right? Or
Uh, I
yeah,
don't know,
yeah,
Jack. What was
I
that?
would say
That was probably a year and a half in airsoft,
yeah.
maybe 2 years. So that was probably at the
That's
2 year mark.
what makes airsoft memorable, right? Is the moments like that where
Because we've been
it's
playing
always,
for like 4 years now,
yeah.
so
There you go.
almost 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Since we were talking about yeah, I guess we could jump into this BDUs and stuff. You could, it's something. It's one of those things where you could also move into. If you find your niche in the fashion department, basically, you can move into buying BDUs, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had what is it like? Which episode was that? Episode 7, I believe, is when you're starting to get more into VDUs, right? You could battle dress uniforms. You could start buying different camouflages and stuff. You could start, moving into like rather than like the palettes sort of change throughout the seasons, right? Especially in Panther, it's great because it changes overall. We'll start getting those like winter palettes or something. Well, not all white, but something like that's like everything's dead looking, brown, darks, and all that fun jazz because it's darker at the field. And then you move into the summer, then you get more your orange, your greens, and a lot more different yellows and foliage, right? That's you start moving to those. I would say reference episode 7 of our show, and we go through an in-depth look into what our color palette is at Panther. And
Flectard.
yeah, Flectarn. Oh yeah, I remember that. Flectarn was the way to go for all seasons almost.
A lot of people don't seem to rock it. I only
Hey,
know
I'm starting
two
to see it
people.
more.
Are you
I
guys?
only know 2 people, Hayden and this other dude.
Are you guys gonna put it at your store because I'm really interested in buying one now.
I have Flectarn. It's like not even a question.
Is it in large size of me?
Yes, I have it for you. I save for you.
Okay. There you go,
I
guys.
give you a good price.
So in essence, that's more pants to rip for Mac.
Ouch! Whoa! I'm not ripping any pants. No. You gotta buy new ones because I'm so skinny.
But you have an entire store now, so.
Yeah, but then I could just buy the right pair of pants.
That's true. Yeah, in terms of BDUs or uniforms or dress for what you wear, I guess we're moving back into the topic of the arterial sleeve, so I wouldn't purchase at this time like real like military gear stuff in terms of like BDs and stuff. Like some of it is like especially for Canadian Forces uniform. I know some people like want to jump into impersonating.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Okay. Doing impressions is insane.
Insane.
Yeah. So that's just one of those avenues that it's also a common pitfall. If you want to get into that, good on you, sure, but I would not get into that until you talk to someone who's actually, doing.
So you really know what that is.
Yeah.
Did you just get a promotion? Did you just get a Christmas bonus? You might be spending it on Airsoft.
Yeah.
Jesus, don't even get me into that.
I guess that falls into
the
next round of level ups here, because you go from newbie to novice is because your budget increased all of a sudden. You got a better job. You're 16-year-old kid. You got a job. You're 18-year-old. You got a job. You're not. Your parents aren't dropping you off at Airsoft anymore or something like that. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
We've seen kids grow up.
Yeah, so a lot of if you're a kid, grown up, and then all of a sudden you got all these extra income coming in, and you want to spend it on our beloved hobby. Thank you, by the way. We'll keep doing this. Yeah, that's just one of those things where then you could start making your own decisions on how to buy things, and yeah, I've seen a lot of that over the time where kids all of a sudden get this influx of money, and you're like, oh, okay, well, now they're making informed decisions on what to get, and inform yourself on what to get. This is why we're trying to do this video, because why not? Because we've all been through it before. Common pitfalls of newbie entering into a novice stage or amateur stage even, and you're trying to collect a lot of gear. Like for me, I've collected so much gear over the years that it becomes a burden, and I have a container to store them all now. I guess we could jump into that one too. I guess my advice or recommendation, especially me going through so much gear, especially early on in Airsoft, because I just bought so much, like I loved it. Not as much as like, let's say Julian back then, or even Paul and my team. They just keep buying a new gun almost every month or something.
Yeah, but it's the same gun.
Okay, yeah, that is true. I get it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly. My biggest advice for anyone who's seriously getting into this is get either a gear bag or a like I wouldn't
Gun
say
closet.
I wouldn't say a Pelican case, because that gets really expensive. If you get a Pelican case like me, like a 1650, a huge Pelican case that you could put on a like a pallet, you could get something as small as like a gun bag even, right?
Yeah.
That's essentially, you
Mhm.
can put everything in there, one gun, one whatever, or you could get like
Yeah.
a Rubbermaid bin to pull all your gear in, because nothing is like worse than throwing all your gear in your bedroom and it's messy. I come from a more of a organized, like, I like to organize everything in
Can't see it.
containers. Yeah. What do you have there?
My gear stand.
Ah, your gear stand.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was just gonna be
Yeah.
like, what happened?
So yeah, for me, I have a knack for organizing everything. So when I can't organize it or put it in a container somewhere, then it's like a mess for me. So if you're kind of like me, I tend to keep everything organized, put everything on a wall. It could be as easy as organizing your closet even, right? Having a gear closet with all your gear, or having like something to put on your plate carrier so that you can display it. I like the display aspect of it. That's why I have a container full of guns that, has like little gun sort of like
You got gun
displays,
racks, and
gun
then you got
racks.
gear trees,
Yeah,
and
and
you have
then
gear trees, and I
gear
like it.
trees, and then I got like Rubbermaid containers for the rest of the team. So something
Mm.
that I really like to do. So that's something you could sort of, you know, level up, other than, grabbing more gear and stuff. You could do something like that, and that organizes your life a little bit more. Maybe your girlfriend or wife will be like much more happier when all your shit is like in one
In
area.
one spot, in one
Yeah,
box.
especially when, you got muddy airsoft boots and muddy BDUs and muddy guns and all that fun jazz, right? It's just a lot for me. It's like that's a huge level up, because of the fact that, like, you're just organizing your gear a little bit better. You're taking care of it a little bit better. If you're not taking care of your gear and just trashing it around, then, it's like you don't really care about the sport, right? Then if you
Mm-mm.
yeah, if you don't, and if you're like that and it just stays in a corner, right, for a long time, right, at least it's organized. Or if it stays in a corner and then your BDU's all over the place, then you're and we don't see you for a while, then you're just not coming back. Um, I guess we could segue into that, unless you guys want to add sort of something to organize. Because I know you guys have different ways of organizing. I have my way of organizing airsoft stuff. What do you guys want to add to that? I mean, I have an entire container worth of organizing
Yeah,
Well,
stuff.
just
they're top tier.
bins, gun racks, and gear racks. That's what it is, right? You just need to
And
make a space available for yourself to give yourself that uh, like availability of customizing stuff to make it organizable. You know what I mean? Like get yourself a pegboard or something like that. You know, get some like shelf pegs or something. You could put a shelf on there. You could put your ammo up top or something like that. You could just put your gun right on top, draw an outline, make it more organized. There's all kinds of things you can do. You can imitate, real gun, storage and stuff like that. There's tons of things that you can do and stuff like that. I myself, I like doing racks because I like things being easily, available, and I just want to be able to pick it up and stuff like that. Plus, if I could, mannequins, right? But hey, those guys are expensive and stuff whatnot. But like ideally, coming from a gaming background, I would really like to have mannequins showing off your gear, whatnot.
Yeah, but
So
that's if they could hold it up. Those I've looked at mannequins, yes, but they tend to be fragile at best.
yeah, yeah, those fiberglass ones and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, Mac, go ahead. I heard you trying to jump in there.
I'm trying to remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no.
I just kept saying it to myself for like 7 seconds, and I was like, "Ugh." Just make sure you guys are getting rid of stuff that you don't need.
There
Like,
you go.
a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
people get stuck on like holding on to something, or like, and okay, so Poi, you have your first M4. Kudos to you. Awesome that you still have that. I unfortunately do not have my first M4. I wish I still did, but it's just it broke. It was kind of like irreversible damage to the point where it's like you might as well just buy a new gun anyway, because the amount of money that it would have cost to fix it would have just been pointless, right? So for me, it was just taking up space and everything like that. And then what did I do from there? I just gutted it with tack, and it has gone, and I think it's serviced like 4 different guns from like some of the parts that came from that, right? So um that was that one thing. It was just taking up space for me. And then yeah, like getting rid of old plate carriers that you're not wearing anymore. Maybe keeping it for a buddy is definitely a good idea. Like I do have a couple of extra rigs and stuff like that in bins, just in case. It's like I have friends that want to come out
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
they don't own anything. But yeah, for the most part, like if it's stuff that I don't interact with or use anymore, I'm gonna cut it loose.
Yeah, but I don't think for someone who's going from newbie to novice, I don't think they'll have extra stuff to begin with. It's just they have that one
Uh,
Mm,
thing. They have that
that's
one
that's
thing, and they want to
that.
start collecting more. I would say you're more advanced at that point when you have, 2 or 3. Like,
Well, I mean, like, to each their own, though, right? Because what happens if
Yeah.
you decided that you wanted to buy 2 guns with your kind of startup or whatever, but you didn't buy a plate carrier, or you bought a plate carrier that was really, really nice, and you bought a really bad gun, and now you're just looking at yourself like, "Yo, what the hell?" Right? So, I mean, everyone starts from different points. My only thing that I'm trying to add on to that is don't be afraid to let go, but also don't let go of everything. Because yeah, maybe there's like that's really cool that you still have that first M4. Like
yeah.
the fact that like you showed that to us, it still works. Like you could
Well, the
slap a.
the problem is there are some people that are like me. They're like collectors, right? Or like,
Oh no, sorry,
yeah.
Poi. Here, we're gonna call you out. The problem is you can't let anything go. I understand. Okay, don't worry. That is why you have a C can, and that is why we love you. Like,
Okay, if someone
uh,
gets to that point, there's an issue. I'm gonna be honest here,
I'm just
guys.
imagining your parents right now, like teenage Poi, like, Poi, you cannot keep your stuff here anymore. And it's like, Mom, Dad, I swear to God, it's not that much.
First of
Guns
all,
like all over the wall.
I was mid-20s when I started airsoft, so it
Oh,
doesn't
right,
doesn't
you were
really
already
matter.
gone. Yeah,
Yeah, I
sorry,
was
you're
already
already gone. I'm just imagining your parents coming over to your house and then just being all like, Poi, no, this is not okay. And it's all like, what do you mean? This is my house, damn it. Like,
Oh my gosh. And this is why organization is key, right? That's why I footnoted that right away when you first start, like when you're moving into newbie to novice players, like start organizing
Mhm.
your shit because it's gonna get messy when you start adding on all of this, right?
Yeah, well, it can.
Especially
Exactly.
when I keep my old M4 and I had other M4s, right? Well, let's jump into maintenance, right? Because like
Yeah.
the reason why that is so good is because my uncle, or my uncle was like an old school airsofters from the 80s and like well, early 90s even, right?
Mhm.
And he basically like knew how to maintain like airsoft guns. And you know what is one of we referenced it off of episode 8 where we talk about how to maintain your airsoft guns, right? And then at this point as a newbie, you've probably gone through your gun so many times. You've probably got it in the wet rain, um the mud, the dirt, the dust that's everywhere. We'll go to tack here because you're probably better off answering these. Like, what are some of the main pointers that you should tell people right away when it comes to using your airsoft gun for like a first season, the first year? What should they look for? If they're not buying another airsoft gun, they want to keep this.
Well, if you're still using the same one and you haven't relubed it or got it taken to a shop, to take a look at it and stuff like that. Definitely, I would suggest something like that, especially if you've been avidly playing for like a full season. Kind of like people with a car who run it with a check engine light on. Eventually it's going to break down on you, and in which case then you have more problems than you want, and it's going to cost you a lot more because it's going to lead to catastrophic issues. Instead of, let's say, like, replacing a shim or just throwing a little bit of grease in there, you've got to get a whole new gearbox
So,
because I've seen it happen.
so what about for people that are aspiring techs? That are wanting to open that thing up, like they're confident, they watch the videos, they think they're confident. What resources or what avenue should they start on? Like we're talking about like techs like you that started and then as a newbie and then all the way starting to tinker with their guns, right?
Well, it's like the like season, like I don't know, like I would say, if
From
you
your
haven't
experience, yeah.
if you haven't opened up your gun yet, I'd suggest either see if you can find another gearbox, from someone else, or buy another gun that someone's throwing away off of the secondhand market or something like that to use as your surgery kit, because there's no like especially with a lot of the older guns, because they don't have the quick change on it. So if it's your first time working with that and you haven't dealt with that before, um,
Like a
you're
classic V2 or something.
yeah, well, you're in for a crappy surprise.
Well, I
Your
mean, the
gears are gonna
only
go all over the place, and if you've
yeah,
never shimmed before in your life, then you just misplaced all your shims, and now you're gonna have to work from scratch, and that's gonna be more of a headache than anything, especially if it's your first time. So
yeah,
if it is your first time, then yeah, you want to practice on something else. Unless you are, a really meticulous guy where you do a lot of research beforehand, so you have a basic general idea of what you're going into already, right? And you just don't have like the physical experience and stuff like that, and you want to get into it, you can go ahead. But I really suggest having something to practice on before
What's
you
some
go.
resources that you, when you started, referenced on? You talk about, like, I remember on our airsoft maintenance episode 8, you were talking about forums and stuff like that. Is there newer generation stuff? I'm guessing YouTube videos, something like that, to reference off of.
Honestly, if you ask me right now, I'm gonna tell you to look at all the videos from like 10 years ago and stuff like that. I still
Still
watch a
hasn't
lot of stuff.
changed.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. It's like I like, yeah, there's new stuff, but a lot of the new stuff I watch happens to be regurgitated old stuff. So it's like I'd rather hear it sometimes from the source, from where it actually came from a lot of the time, because people always try to put their own spin on it and stuff like that, and sometimes that can lead you misunderstanding certain things like that. So take it like you would like a news article, right? Watch multiple sources and then come up with your own objective opinion, because we are all different people, so we are all understand things differently. We all understand things at a different pace. So um to me, I don't think you can truly understand something when you just get it from one side. So that's why I always suggest to, go back and look at stuff and always look at different things. Unless, of course, there's only one specific guide. If there's only that, then that is what it is.
the only
Yeah.
thing that I would interject on there is like I know I'm not a tech or anything, but I have worked on my stuff before, so like, tech, screw you. Um, my only thing is don't be afraid to make mistakes. I know there's a couple of times I opened up my gearbox and I put it back together and I didn't do it properly or something, and then I did have to ask you like, "Hey, what did I do wrong?" or like, "Hey, how can I fix this up?" and everything like that. So it's like, it's all a learning experience. You can't learn if you don't do it.
Hmm.
Sometimes it can be a costly experience, so definitely getting like what Tax said about getting like a secondhand gearbox or something, like something you can sacrifice, just because not everyone's got a tech on standby like I do, where I can go up and be like, "Hey, Tac, I screwed this up. Can you fix this?" Um, so yeah, it's there is a definite bit of risk to it, but again, if you're a handsy, tactile person and you want to try and do that, then yes, do it. If not, again, it came to the same analogy where me and Poi used with our cars. Not a car guy, not even gonna try, so I'm gonna take it to a professional.
Yeah, and then coming from my background, I have no tech background at all. So when it comes to dealing with that, just like I said with the car background, I'm just gonna go straight to a mechanic right away, because I'm not gonna fuck around with something expensive. Because, if, especially when you consider, like, when you play as a newbie at that stage, you played for a year with it, you haven't done any maintenance, you got dust and grime. The only thing you can do is just basically clean the barrel, clean the
Hmm.
external, and that's it, right? But you're not
Yeah,
gonna open that inside. You don't even bother. You
well, that's when
charge
you
you
pay for.
charge you charge the battery
Yeah.
properly. I would say at this point, if you find that the performance is not as what it used to be before, and go to a reputable tech, like yourself, Tech. If I'm sure you're busy, so I would say go to Trigger, or any one of these guys like Schoolboy, or like, I don't know if they freely advertise, but like Spectre,
No, I don't think
and
David doesn't
yeah,
take
and
on projects anymore. He
yeah, I
only does
mean,
freelance
I
stuff.
mean, if
Not
you buy,
not
if you
before
buy,
me.
if you buy them like nice dinner and something like that, who knows? But yeah,
Yeah.
anyways, however you could get the favor, right? You go to these techs, or you ask for advice. They're more than willing to give advice, right? But when it
Oh,
comes,
most of no.
like I said, when it comes to asking for service, then it's always gonna be with the payment, right? Because you're you're taking their time and fixing your issue. They're not gonna do it for free. I'm gonna be honest here. They're not gonna do it for free. When my uncle does it, I pay him. I don't. He says he doesn't mind because he's an old Airsofter that doesn't play anymore. I'll still pay him. I'll go to you could go to Trigger, ask them to do it. That's their job to do it. So they're gonna fix it regardless, right? So I would say if you have no issues, just keep running it until it runs broken, right?
Yeah.
Or if you want to maintain it, you go to them and they will maintain it for you. That's really up to you. That's how you spend your dollars. It's up to you. Just like a performance car, if you maintain it properly, then it'll do what you want it to do. Unless the gear breaks, then you go and fix it. And that's pretty much like that's two sides of the maintenance part. One is you attack, you want to know it all, you want to know how it works, you want to know how to fix it. And then there's me and Mac, which is basically like, I ain't touching it, someone else do it, I'm gonna pay you, right? So
I'm not gonna lie, there's been a gearbox sitting literally on that desk over there for the last 3-4 days now because I just don't want to touch it right now.
did someone pay you for it? That's bad.
No, it's mine. It's mine. It's people stuff
If
I don't
there's
get done, but
Look, everyone, if there's money involved, he'll do it.
Oh my god.
Either way,
But,
like we were talking about community at that point. In terms of like community, like we were talking about like how airsofters love to talk about airsoft guns and stuff. You ask them anything, right? There's no dumb question, right? There's like when you're new, there's no dumb questions. Even if you're at that stage, there's everybody specializes on a lot of things. As far as like when you're at the field, X amount of times, so many times, I would consider like for you to sort of be a novice player there, you start sort of I don't know. Like for me it was like different when I started. I was more of like I led my team. I came in there with the team already, but if you're there alone by yourself, that's good on you. If you like to be a lone wolf, that's fine. But if you want to sort of introduce it to your friends and stuff, then that's when you buy your second gun, you kind of lend your other gun to your friend and stuff like that, and then you get them into the sport. And I think from experience from all of us, it was fun to play with friends or family, and you don't have to invest the gear because they lent you your gear. So when you're a novice player, you have two guns, right? You lend it to your friends. What does that do? That's like a gateway drug to.
it is 100% it is. Like look
Yeah.
at what happened to Mac.
Yeah.
I won't be.
You
I won't lie
spent
to
all
you.
your money on gear.
I literally injected Mac with
with the airsoft bug, yeah.
Yeah, with the airsoft.
So Mac, coming from your experience, like as a newbie, and Mac Tack, coming from your experience as someone who's already played it, like was it much easier to transition to airsoft, or
like to me, yeah, it was easier.
it was easier with family, right? Like with someone
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I was going out by myself, and the reason I got him into it was because I was going out by myself, and I always got into that whole idea, the squad mentality. Like don't get me wrong, I have fun playing by myself and doing lone wolf because I play differently, and I feel like you have a different mentality when you go play by yourself. So not necessarily saying that you get more out of it, but I feel like your expectations are a lot different than when you play with your group of friends. And not to knock that, having friends and playing with friends is a bad thing because sometimes what I'm getting at on that is that sometimes when you play with your friends, you feel like you're always going to crush, you know, clap cheeks, slap people around and stuff like that. And
Stocking bodies, man.
you know
Schwacking
yeah,
kids.
and sometimes that's not necessarily the case, right? And so you might end up having a negative time, you know what I mean, as opposed to, let's say you're going by yourself, you're under the assumption that yes, there's going to be people, that are I'm gonna the odds are stacked against me, so if I come out positively, it's just like sweet, you know what I mean? So it's easier to, you know I guess be happier, or I don't know, I don't know how to
You just took me on such a loop. What are you saying? I am so confused listening to what you're saying right now.
All
Oh
right,
my god, I feel
Mac.
bad for our
What
listeners.
what about you? When you started, you were
Same question. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, give
same
it to me
question.
again here because I don't even know what you asked anymore.
So when you started, you had that mentality that you were starting off with your brother. You're starting off with someone you know already. You're not going there alone. How was that feeling for you? But I guess it's more of a newbie question than a novice. But
Mhm.
from a newbie standpoint, did it feel better when you transitioned into airsoft?
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
Like, okay, so for me, I wasn't transitioning into it from anything because I wasn't doing anything at the
yeah,
time. So for me, coming out to the field, I had never been there before. It wasn't my forte. It wasn't anything. Again, like I love all the people that I've met and made friends with and everything like that. None of those people I would ever interact with in my social circle outside of airsoft. So really love the fact that I had the opportunity to meet those people. And again, thanks to TAC for introducing me to those people. And, it's grown to a point now, right? To where, Poi, you and I are even really good friends and everything. And as such, like we have our tight family at the field. And I've, been welcomed into that. And that has, become a really big part of my life. So growing from just playing to that, yeah, it was very nice to be able to kind of come in there and actually have a certain level of comfort, because I do know a lot of people that come in solo, but I also have had that feeling with other things where I haven't had TAC there, because there are things that TAC and I do not have the similarity and share the same experiences on and everything like that. So I've had to go alone, and it can be an intimidating feeling. It can be a bit daunting. So that's why that's why I always try and reach out and talk to new players and everything like that. Make sure people are feeling comfortable, and if they have any questions or anything like that, they can always bring up their questions or concerns or anything like that.
yeah.
It's a big open game, open community, open field, and yeah, we're all here to have the same thing.
Yeah, so we went in our episode, I think 10, we went through how to bring your friends to airsoft,
Hmm.
and we went through some range of topics on how to introduce them into airsoft. And, as a novice player, it's probably a good idea to introduce them into airsoft because you coming in there, maybe you already went with your friends, but it's good to
Hmm.
introduce it to other people as well because of the fact that it makes us grow, community wise, and then B, it makes this hobby even bigger. The more revenue it is, the more the stores will bring in as well. And it's 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 a hobby. It's not something that is cheap. It's expensive, yeah.
Hmm.
But if you have your own gear, or if you have two airsoft guns already and you want to introduce your friend to it, lend them your gun. Trust me, once they hold on to it, then it's gonna be like an introduction right there, like a gateway or something like that, right? Not that I like to call it a gateway, but how do you get introduced to new things? Well, you try it out for the first time. If for newbies back then, right, when we were talking about like when you're getting into the sport, really early, if your friend does not have gear, what do? You rent out at the field, right? Unfortunately, COVID makes it a little bit harder to rent out gear, but renting out gear is another way. You invite your friend, you tell them, oh yeah, this is how much it's gonna cost and this and that, right? And then I love this sport. I've been playing it for like a year now, or one season or something like that. And you want to get your friend in. I'm sure your friend's interested, but he's just afraid. You as a novice, you already have the experience and know-how on how to start as a newbie, right? Apply that experience to them. Advise them, let them know do's and don'ts, and they'll have a smoother time, right? Um, for my experience, I went into sport, already with the team, already with people that I know, and it was a much smoother transition to a point where I rented once and then bought everything the next day. And that's how I got hooked on, right? Because like I knew I like what I was doing. I knew what, like, I got hooked right away. And that's it. And then after probably like so many years later, beyond my novice experience, it's pretty much like I have a bunch of guns. Then my team faded away. I don't see my old team anymore, and then I was just by myself. And then I'm like, well, this kind of sucks. But I then sort of took in that agenda of I help other players out, and I just helped other players out, like lone wolves like me who had no teams, and we just kind of just banded together and worked together and stuff. And this I just applied all the stuff I learned and introduced my brother to it as well at that point, because I was like, no, I don't want to go airsoft alone. So I brought my brother along, and now we both play airsoft. And he went through the same pitfalls as me, buying everything. So I
Well,
couldn't stop him.
and it's fun, and I think that's the biggest factor for me. Is just the why I had people join me is that it's like it is fun, mind you, right? Like we talked about it before, right? If you're a person who has a low pain tolerance, then this isn't it's not the sport for you. You know what I mean? Like if someone who plays, sports already, right? You're probably gonna get into this and have total fun. You're gonna find the competitive nature in it, and it's gonna take off, right? But for those people who don't really get out very much, yeah, I don't know if they're gonna have a lot of fun with this. So again, pick and choose, who you're bringing out and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah.
So
Could you imagine like a real soldier having like a high like or like a low pain tolerance and then just complaining about like his job?
Don't make
Like,
fun of
could you
Chair Force, man. Don't make fun of Chair
could
Force.
you
yo, Mac, I'm sure there's guys out there like that. Like,
could you
Hey.
imagine? Like,
like what?
oh my god, the bullets hurt too much.
The
Okay.
bullets are okay.
Don't make fun of the Air
Um,
Force guys.
yeah.
Much respect for
So
them. Um,
okay.
so to jump into that, like,
Space Force though.
hey, they're new. We don't know yet.
They're
we,
still
don't,
too new.
we don't know if they're the new Air Force.
We'll give them 100 years.
So I guess jumping in more community stuff. If you're out there, get to know more people. Get to know McIntyre, get to know like me and stuff. There is no like, even if you're a novice player and you've been there a while, there is no stupid questions. We won't know some of the answers, but we know where to point to and stuff like that, right? And then if someone asks you a question, right, do the same thing. You could point to people that then it just goes up the chain basically of knowledge. Another one is basically sometimes your professions do cross over well at the field. For instance, like me and my brother were both photographers and we love taking photos. Or
Mhm.
stuff like that. It's
Dude, your
like
guys' media
airsoft.
is unbelievable.
Well, and
Airsoft is
people don't even
literally
realize it, right? Like
yeah.
the qual like because especially with the camera equipment that you
The
guys use,
super
right?
high
Yeah, it's
quality.
Yeah,
expensive, dude. It is expensive,
yeah.
especially
Like
when you
my
already have
phone
people with
doesn't take that nice photo, man.
especially when you have people with expensive gear already, right?
Mhm.
Photography is like one of those things where it's like a nice thing to have here because everyone likes kit photos, right?
Hey,
Mhm.
man, the gear companies must love it
Yeah,
in the
I
fact
do.
that it's just like that there's some of these high quality photos out there that they didn't even have to pay for sometimes. So if they can like sift through it and find a Gucci one that they like,
Yeah.
black out the face, be like, yeah, we took this.
Other sort of professions as well, like first aiders, right? If you have a first aid, it's great to
Mm,
have it in this sport because of the fact that it is outdoors. It is an extraneous sport that you kind of
mhm.
like, man, you're gonna break something
Well,
like
a lot of
myself.
a lot of the time there are injuries, but a lot of the time that we have injuries, they're not airsoft related injuries. They're just like sports related injuries. Like,
Yeah, like
you
sprains.
ran. Well, I was just about to say, boy, I'm sorry, okay? Like your
Ouch.
ankles gave way, like, you ran into something head first and people aren't wearing a helmet. A lot of
Yeah.
the times we are wearing helmets, and for me, I might have something mounted on it, but I'm like 9 out of 10 times wearing it because I know what kind of idiot I am and I'm gonna trip and fall into something, and I'd rather have a helmet. Like,
Yep,
You'd rather
that's
not
yeah,
be that guy that stood up and cut his head.
yep.
yeah, ooh, yeah. Remember?
Yeah,
Mm.
first aid is a big one. Another
Yeah.
one is basically for you, Mac, is
Lo-
basically a lot of the fitness stuff. Some professionals do take it as like a training tool or something like that. We were talking about it on our last podcast, 29,
Mhm.
is like complementing that with your other skills. Like
Well, exactly. I mean, if you're already working out and like living like a fitness lifestyle or something like that, because some people say it like that. But so for myself, it's like I'm already working out through my regular life and everything like that. So why not incorporate it into something that I can find useful with?
yeah,
Whereas, like I do a lot of cardio and stuff like that, especially resistance or weighted cardio. So it's like, running under stress, running under duress, and everything like that is not hard for me. Like, there are times where it's hard, but like I push myself through to the point where it's like, this is easy. So, like, like working yourself to that point in like the real life can also have like, tremendous benefits to you in game, right? Like,
yep. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other things that you could, dump into it. Trades even, like for you, Mac.
Oh, well, like I was just about to say, like, I swear you had field craft is next, and it's like that's one of the best things that I enjoy about like my work background, like my trades training. So I am a carpenter and everything like that by trade. And like for me to be able to kind of like sit down and discuss with you yourself, Poi, who have like the video game background and can share that with Tack, other people that have like a tactics background and everything like that. And then for me to be able to be a carpenter, kind of visualize and help kind of create that, it's a really fun feeling for me. And then I do fancy myself some kind of, shmee
Yeah,
subject matter expert on that or whatever. So like, I too like to, dabble and think and then expand my head on that too. So, it's always fun to see how things work out like that. And then it's always great when things come back to benefit the field, the community, and
yeah. We
all of us
are,
at large.
like, the airsoft community is small,
Mhm.
and helping each other out is great because that expands the sport, that expands how many people come in, and that also
Mhm.
expands your target rich environment in the summertime.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, honestly, I see it.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, exactly, Leroy.
Yeah.
At least I had chicken.
We just dated ourselves even more. Stop it.
Oh my god.
Man,
Yeah, go
God,
ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Tak. Yeah.
I just remember when that video came out, man.
I
Jesus.
remember when you showed me that video.
Did you have anything to add to that, Tak?
I was just thinking of like other professions and stuff like that. Like, it was on the top of my head, but it was like,
Whoop whoop.
yeah, totally. Yeah, if you're police officers or like, military members, totally. Yeah. Not, no, not, that's joking aside there. I was just thinking of like, um,
Hmm.
not I wouldn't say profession, but like if you had any kind of sports background and stuff like that,
Yep.
like any kind of leadership skills, right? It ties into into the whole thing, right? Because of the whole squad mechanics, aspect that you can get into with airsoft and stuff like that. Is as soon as you get into more than a pair, right? As soon as you get into more than a pair, you start getting into leading because you have to be able to account for that other person, not just the person beside you and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So definitely, like coming from, or I guess yeah, even in professions, right? Like if you're a manager or if you're just used to being in charge of people and stuff like that, so, maybe you find yourself comfortable being in that position. Maybe you're not that great, you know at shooting, but you're really good at placing people and getting your side to win.
Yep.
Hey, maybe that's what you get out of
Mm.
airsoft and stuff like that. So I
Yep.
see that sometimes.
That's me. Yep. Even as a newbie, that's how I started, dude. I love leading the way, and
Well,
for
it's
me,
fun.
that was the thing. That's my
Y-
thing. And then
yeah.
it's one of those things where you find something in airsoft that you like, and you pin
Mhm.
focus on it. Right? It doesn't have to be. We went through it at episode 29 so much. It doesn't have to be just gunplay or mechanics. It could be other things that you could focus on. Right? We don't want to
Mhm.
dabble into it. Go watch the previous episode. That was a great sort of example of what what skills you can adapt to this. Another one. Yeah, I tried to segue this one, but I just couldn't. But there's people out there that, it airsoft does not become fun anymore, right?
Mm.
It's just one of those things where you couldn't get your friends to play, you couldn't fit in very well, you're just awkward sometimes, or it gets cold out. Let's put the temperature on a different topic here, but what's your advice for other players like that? I mean, it is hard to get people into airsoft because sometimes we're talking about pain tolerance and stuff. Unfortunately, it's not one of those things where not everybody can get involved. If you
What
don't like,
it's
go ahead.
it's not even that it's like so much a pain tolerance thing because like mind you right away if you bring that factor up you're going to eliminate what like whoever's not going to be playing there is not going to be playing there, okay?
Yeah, and
So just like
we're there's no hurt feelings, right? That's not
yeah,
for
so just
everybody.
eliminate that right there. The next one that I think would be the biggest hurdle for people is the hurt wallet because it is a pay-to-play sport, so people's competitiveness can really reflect on their wallet, and then their wallet can also reflect back on their competitiveness and everything like that too. So like vice versa, right? Like it it's hard to gauge because like, like I know what took Tack the longest time for me to convince me, right? Tack was just convincing me to spend the money. Like I thought it was a waste of money. I didn't think it was a cool thing at all, and like like little did I know that like how heavy I would get into it, right?
Yeah.
And then part of me also knew that I am like this because I do that with all of my hobbies, right? I'm like, nah, nah, nah.
I
Then
don't
when I
need it.
like
I don't
get,
need it. Yeah.
oh, when I get into it, I get so into it, right? And it's just like,
And
oh my
this is
god.
why we do sort of informative videos or even podcasts regarding your spending, and as well as what to get and stuff. Well, we don't recommend you what to get, we just tell you how it is, right? Because a lot of the times, right, when we're talking about, like, at the very beginning of this podcast is from newbie to novice. We were talking about episode 3 where we're talking about budget minded gears and all that fun jazz, because we know that people need help or guide on what to get for their budget, right? Or for what their budget they're getting, because it is something that you just unfortunately, yeah, it's a hobby. It requires money. It's expensive. Just like any other sort of hobby, like snowboarding or RC stuff.
I
You know,
was
you
I
you
was just
you're
about to
not.
say,
Yeah,
like, dude, snowboarding is what I was in, and it
yeah,
was just like so much money.
yeah. You just don't go up there and like not have any gear, right? You're gonna rent. It's still gonna be expensive, but at least that is a gateway for you. Or if you have friends that have old gear, right? You're up the mountains. You just have to pay for your admission, then you're in, right? Like, it's the same thing here, right? Like, that's why we tell you to make informative decisions, right, on what you're spending on, because yeah, we're spending a lot of money because it's a hobby, right? And it is your money, and you should advise yourself on how to do it, right? Because this is why we're going through this video, because there is a lot more to airsoft than just spending money too. There's there's a lot of benefits, and it's fun. It's
Let's
fun.
be real.
Yeah.
If there was a way to make our own BBs, we would have already started doing it. Okay, let's flat out get that out of there. Okay.
You mean to tell me you want everybody to have a machine press to make BBs at home, just like real
If we
rifles?
could, we would.
Now
But
nobody's BBs hit anybody. Like,
Made out of
hey,
powder and burst.
the deficiencies would be so horrible that I'd be surprised if you hit
Oh
someone
yeah.
10 feet in front of you.
So we get back into it. So yeah, for those players that just are not into the sport, unfortunately, there's nothing much we can do. We've informed you enough of, how the sport is or how this hobby is, and if you're not really into it, then yeah, unfortunately, there are some some folks out there that just can't
Fallout.
continue, right? And then there are
yeah,
some that fall out due to weather, right? Now we could get into that matter, because that is an easy one to tackle, because I think it was 16 and 25 episode, fall and winter seasons.
Where we're
They
coming into it.
yeah, we were coming to that, so we're you're gonna have to change your gear. So this is where you make that informative decision about your
Well,
wearable gear and stuff like that, your jackets, your
well, you got two choices, really, right? You adapt, or you're not playing until like spring, summer.
and for
yes,
some people
exactly.
that's cool, that's fine. If that's what
Well,
sort of what,
and that's some
yeah, that's
people,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Break up what you do in your life and stuff like
Yeah,
that, right? So that when you come back into it, it's
but
fun
if
again and
but
whatnot.
if you feel that you purchased something and you could only use it for one season, you could adapt. Listen to our episode 16 and episode 25. When fall came, we gave you advice on what to wear, and then when winter came, we gave you advice on what to wear. um yeah, listen to those, and now you don't feel like your purchase, like your expensive purchase of like $600 for your starter gear now feels like like you could use it all year round, right? You're just supplementing it with gear that you purchase, like just extra layers, or even just a base layer, even, like, that helps a lot, and extra pair of clothes afterwards, because make your life a little bit easier. Again, watch those episodes. It's very useful to watch, especially for us who's experienced all of these, and as well as other airsofters who experience these. It's very useful. Um, Other than that, did I miss anything else that newbies going into a novice player experiences. I mean,
No,
let's be
I think
honest.
that's
Let's
pretty
be
much
honest here. We're all gear whores, so we're gonna buy gear
I was just about to
regardless.
say, like, the only
well,
one that, like,
we
Tack is,
cannot
like, the
we
gun guy, like...
well we can't comment because we're already in stage 3. We're already knee deep in stage 3. Everyone listening to this is on their way to stage,
Hi, my
right?
name is Mac, and I'm an
Right?
airsoft addict.
But for anyone who is watched our budget minded video and stuff like that and still haven't made their second or third purchase, you guys are on your way to stage 2. So
Now we're not recommending you to make your second purchase. We're just saying that if you have one airsoft gun, right? That's depending on how long it lasts, right?
You're gonna need
You're
two.
gonna need to, right? Technology changes, you're talking about like gas blowback, MWS, right? Like it's like the way of the future right now, right? Things like Novice coming out with newer guns and stuff like that, or
He's not coming
you
out with new
know,
guns. He's just
with
rebranding.
with newer
he,
guns.
okay. What about House Gamers coming out with his own branded guns?
Hey,
I
House
mean,
Gamer's gonna come out with a
there,
brand new gun. Yeah,
yeah, there you
okay.
go. So
Yeah,
something
we'll
like that,
talk
right?
about that.
Like you're not,
But the difference is that Dayton's
yeah.
hand assembling them.
All I'm saying is you're not gonna like once you purchase that gun, it's just gonna age with you, and then as the older it gets, the more you go, well, I mean, I probably want a new one, right? You get like a VFC, and then all of a sudden you get a Crytek, and then you get MWS, and then a
And
D,
then you get a
and
real
then a
gun.
DA, and then a
And then
D.
you get a real
Wait, no,
gun.
you move to a DAS, like the
Oh my
Korean
god.
system, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm gonna move to real guns now. Then you're supplementing gear and stuff. Anyways,
Next thing
it's
you know,
it's
you have a tank.
it's a progression stage, right? A newbie is basically someone who has one gun, right, and pistol, the starter gear. Um, you're moving to novice now. You're moving into more territories that, now you're experimenting with different things. You want to try out new things. You want to try out that sniper rifle finally. We're recommending new players not to go with the sniper rifle first, right? For reason being that it's gonna suck when you can't push up anymore.
Really hurts
Yeah,
because I was a
Yeah.
exactly.
novice player that had a G36, a 6-hour, and a novice gun. So that really hurts me.
Yeah. And now you can
It was a personal
you can
attack.
start experimenting with those roles, right? Now that you have a secondary gun, right? You could have something that's, beyond your range or shorter range even. That's up to you. The other one we didn't dabble into is the Milsim experience. I know
Mm.
there it's a whole different sort of ball field when it comes to Milsim. You're going in there with heavy set of rules with a different sort of a gameplay. Like, Airsoft is usually for regular drop in is like what, like no more than an hour, and then less than 15 minutes sometimes for a game.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and a Milsim experience, you're getting in there for the experience of being in a squad, a platoon, and as well as experiencing what it's like to be in a suck, being in a game for like more than 8 hours or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I go to a Milsim I'm looking
Yeah.
for an experience, whether it
Yeah.
be a good or a bad one.
So if you're looking at something beyond the Airsoft game, as a newbie, that's something you don't want to get into because it's gonna suck, right? You're not you don't know what you're experiencing when you when you're a novice player and you already have all this gear and stuff. Then you can move up into Milsim. Then you can work on your field craft, camping out, a lot of things that require Milsims to do, and especially like following a lot of set rules that they have and following the orders and stuff. That's an experience in itself. It's not really an Airsoft game. It's more of an experience, right? It's not about winning or anything. Well, sometimes it is, but it's not about winning. It's about having that experience. You're out there enjoying the suck. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it doesn't. As long as you wear or bring the gear, right? We could get into that in episode, I think, 14, the Milsim experience. We talked about the experiences of going through a Milsim. I think it was with Craig. He is
Yeah, about what to prep and everything like that.
yeah, and he went over. Was it Craig? I think Craig was episode 10 or something, and then I think episode 14 is with Julian, if I remember correctly. I don't remember, but
14 was 14 was with Julian.
Julian,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Craig was like 13
episode
or
10, I think, or 13. Yeah. So yeah, just That's another thing you could like move up into when you do a Milson experience. That's like above all of like the experiences of airsoft that you can get. Basically, that's like pretty high up there. You
But
know.
yeah, because after you're past stage one, right? After you're,
Yeah.
past the new stage, you're starting to hunger for something else and stuff like that. So, definitely, and that's where I would say you're in stage two, right? Or when you phased into like you're becoming more serious, is because now you're starting to look for other things to do, not just, hey, I'm showing up to the weekend and I just want to sling some BBs and leave at lunchtime or whatever it is, which is a lot of what I'm finding a lot of people do. A lot of people don't actually go for the whole day, right? To me, when I go do an activity, I feel like it would be an all day thing, but I understand a lot of people's lives aren't available for that and stuff like that. And so that's where a lot of the budget has to come in mind for some of those people. While for me, I find it being a lot more worth it because I try and get it what I can out of it and stuff like that, right? So, yeah, no, for sure.
So we've broken this down into levels. I didn't realize we were gonna break it down into levels because what is level 3 at this point? What is stage 3? Because we've been talking about stage 2 like novice players are.
Honestly, stage 3 is where you found your kit. You know what it is, and all you're doing is you're just
I
supplementing
don't
to
think I
it,
ever
and you're
find my kit. I just keep
Oh
revolving
man,
around
so thank
different.
God I'm at stage 2. Oh, thank God. I thought I was still
Hey,
stage
well,
1.
that's what I mean is I think some people can stay at stage 2 and stuff like. Because to me, someone who's at stage 3 is someone who's not going to be making a lot of purchases anymore. They're just
They're
buying the
hobbyists.
BBs.
They're just a hobbyist. They're
Yeah,
in it for the weekend. That's a weekend warrior
yeah,
thing.
Replacement parts,
That's
that's
yeah.
it.
that's cool. That's like 80% of our market right there, right?
Yeah.
Because
Where you're still got, a stage 2 guy where you're still buying stuff all the time. That's not necessarily saying that, yeah, a bad thing if you've been playing airsoft, let's say for 15 years and you still are, staying in that, stage or whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
Because hey, you're helping the airsoft economy, keep rolling and stuff like that. So it's not a bad thing. But there are those kinds of players, right? Like what is it? I think just before COVID happened, right? I felt like we were having a lot of the older generation guys showing up and stuff like that, right? So, they're I feel like they were starting to come out. They was bring people were coming out and whatnot.
yeah. So, yeah. That one more thing that damn it. One more thing that we didn't mention, we should mention is at this stage, I think buying your airsoft guns or equipment at the used market. Disclaimer first of all, um, the legal ramifications of buying used or like buying or selling used stuff is when you're selling it, make sure you're not selling it to a minor, and then if you are selling it, make sure you're not a minor. You got to be 18 years or older. I there are laws in place to just to make sure that doesn't happen. But as for disclaimer, please, if you're gonna do it, make sure that you are at that valid age, 18 years or older, because we're just trying to stay out of trouble here, and as well as we're not
Mhm.
recommending you to do that. But you know if you're an airsofter and you're buying equipment from a buddy or a someone at the field, we're gonna leave it up to you to make that informed decision. Make sure you know the
Mhm.
price, make sure you know the person. You could always ask around if this person's trustworthy, right?
Yeah, always ask for advice,
Yeah,
exactly.
and then if that equipment works or not, right? Because it's one of those things where you got to cover your butt, you got to cover yourself. We're not out here to sort of cover help like like sort of moderate it all the time. But the only thing that I'm gonna tell you is like make sure you're 18 years older, or make sure that person is 18 years older. That's about it. Other than that, the used market is probably the best way of saving your money on a lot of these things. Sometimes there's a pitfall where people are just leaving, right? We're talking about like people who just don't enjoy it anymore, right? Good opportunity to buy their gear. Or the people just they got married and stuff like that. Good opportunity to buy their gear. Craigslist has a lot of listings for airsoft stuff, right? Facebook not so much because they don't allow
Gun
buying and stuff.
sales.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things. There's also Airsoft Canada, as long as you are verified age at Airsoft Canada forums. You could buy some stuff from back. It's mostly back east, honestly. Like when you're buying stuff there, I've bought a few things from there, and it's always been back east, and the shipping's always killer.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, why if I'm gonna pay for shipping, I'd rather pay for something from like the States or
Yeah,
something.
or I'd rather see if someone has it here, right? Because
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, there is people out there at the field, at the parking lot, at Panther. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you do have some peddlers. Yeah.
yeah. I wonder if we could put like a bulletin board for you guys and have like a listing in your store or something that people are buying and selling stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, if we do something like that, it'll probably be unmoderated,
Yeah,
considering the fact
like
that it's just
yeah,
like
like
it
like I said already, like we're not moderating it, right? We're just you're
it's
you're
just
you're you're gonna have to inform yourself on what you're purchasing and what you're buying, and if it works or not, because at that point,
All I
it's
hear is people. All I can hear now is people coming up and complaining to me.
yeah. So I think it's gonna
It's
have to
just,
be own self-regulated at that point because you're on your own.
yeah.
But yeah, the used market is a good place to get it. Again, it's one of those things where yeah, it's beautiful to have, like cheap gear. At the same time, will it fit you?
yeah, well, yeah,
Yo,
well,
Cry
exactly.
G3s for $200? What?
Well, well, and if you haven't
Size
seen
extra small.
Airsoft, definitely checking out Craigslist and the used market is a good place to go because you already know the value of what you're looking for. And so it's exactly what you guys are saying. You're looking for those people who are unfortunately hitting with hard times, made a stage 2 negative purchase where they bought the gun realizing that they had to pay rent and now they got to get rid of the gun because they have to pay rent,
Yep.
So fortunately for you, you're like, no, I'm not going to pay full price on it because that's not how it works, right? And so, look out for those kinds of purchases and whatnot. Sometimes people are getting rid of a whole collection, and you might find,
416.
yeah, and you might find like a really, really cool collector gun. Like I know for myself, every time I look for any of the collector um, batches, I'm looking for an FPG.
Yep.
For that FPG.
And
By the
I'm
way, guys, if you find one, let me know.
yeah, and I'm not
Yeah,
like
they'll let you know they have it. They're not gonna sell it to you.
and I'm not
Um,
like throwing like bad names for like, brick and mortar stores or, established stores already. If you're gonna if you have the budget and you're looking for new gear, go to the established stores right away. I mean, that's the way to go. You're not gonna get any complaints. It's an official store or, you have warranty with them and such. So yeah, I would recommend you just go to the store and just do it right there, right? But if you're looking to not sort of take the risk, but like, if you're looking for something that's in a budget sort of deal, then that's the pitfall of it is you're looking at the used market and you just got to inform yourself on what you're getting and stuff like that, right? Because I have bought a lot of used airsoft stuff that was in Craigslist and stuff like that, and sometimes they just won't tell you what the issues are, and then and now you have to deal with the issues, right? So those are the common pitfalls and stuff, but just inform yourself, and as long as you know how to repair it or know how to deal with it, then that's fine with you. That's really up to you what you have to do to purchase it, right? um we're not moderating it for you. There's no one else moderating it for you. So other than that, is there anything else you guys want to add? Tips, recommendations for newbies entering into this regular world of airsoft, hobbyist? No.
No, I think we covered pretty much like a lot of it. Like you
Uh,
obviously can go really in depth with a lot of stuff because there's a
We
lot of
have,
depth to
we
every.
have, we've referenced a lot of our old videos in there, and we do go in depth. You
Well,
guys want to check it out?
I'm talking about a full specific episode on one thing. You know what I mean? Like you can totally do that for a lot of this stuff, and because like, and that's the thing, right? Because we're trying to dance through a bunch of topics and stuff like that, we're not fully going into the whole thing, right? And so if people are out there who want one full episode on one very specific thing and whatnot, let us know in the comments and whatnot because we're just trying to dance around topics so that we can cover a broad range because we know a lot of people have a lot of these questions, right? And we'd like to answer a lot of these questions, but at the same time, we don't want to sit there talking about one specific thing, um, you know, forever because we think it's super interesting. We also want to know what you guys think is interesting as well because that's part of why we're doing this as well.
Yeah. I think bottom line, airsoft in general, just buy more airsoft guns.
Yeah, buy more guns. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm waiting for that VFC M249. Like,
It basically tells the manufacturer that we are interested. So that's how that's our buying power basically. That tells them the interest.
Buy more guns.
Buy more
so
guns.
what you're telling me, Poi, is that the Wii Browning High Power will be improved coming soon.
Shut up.
I don't know. I don't think so. Anyways, that is it for our episode here.
I'm throwing it out the window.
No, throw it at the enemy. It's more effective.
That is true. It is heavy. Anyways, guys, that is it. This is Poi. It is Mac over here.
That's me.
Hippopotamus time. Gotcha.
I'm tired.
And we got Tack over here. All right. And that is episode 3. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
3-0, guys. Bye-bye.